What's up is why you been lying to me for 11 years telling me that DJ is my real son. Why you been lying to me?
What I've been lying about?
I got a DNA test done.
A DNA saying what?
Saying that he's not my son.
Let me see this DNA test.
You don't need to see it. I saw it.
How DNA test gonna say?
How you gonna be lying to me for 11 years? Why would you do that to me?
Where's the lie?
The lie is you. You are the lie. You have been lying to me for 11 years, having me believe that my son that I've been raising for 11 years is not really my son. Like, how could you do that to me? Like, what can you say for yourself right now?
What made you get a DNA test?
Because I went through your phone.
And why?
Talking about me, laughing and bragging, telling your friends that I have no idea that he's really not my son. So I went and got a DNA test done. Like, you think I'm stupid or something?
You know what?
What? You care more about me going through your phone than you lying to me about my son not being mine? Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? You care more about being humiliated and me finding out that our son is not really my son and that he has a different father. I sure have, because I thought he was my son. Because you've been lying to me this whole time.
What are you talking about? Does it matter?
It does matter. Are you crazy? What do you mean that absolutely matters? Like, you don't see anything wrong with what you did? You don't see anything wrong with what you did? You've been lying to me. You've been sitting here lying to me for 11. Of course I love him, but I can't. But you guys can't stay. You can't stay here anymore.
Where we gonna go?
I don't know. It's not my problem. 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 You can't stay here. You did my job. I did my job as a dad. I did my job as a dad. I'm putting y'all out. Yes.
Who's gonna put
I'm gonna put you out. I'm gonna put you out. I will pack your bags myself and put you out of here. I will pack your bags. Y'all can't stay here. You gotta go. You lied to me. You lied to me. You lied to me for 11 years. For 11 years straight, you lied to me, having me believe that he's my son. No, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta get up out of here.
All right, y'all. This is Deck Life. Welcome to another great episode. I am Mr. J.
I'm Leisha.
And I'm Lisa. And I said what I said.
Where does this whole dynamic sit with you? And let's have a conversation about this. I think it's a very worthwhile discussion to have. But I want to get the ladies' point of view. I'm going to give mine, and maybe we can cross over and have this conversation as well. Go ahead, Leisha. I'm going to let you start.
Well, this happened to a friend of mine recently.
Damn.
Wow. Recently, recently.
Recent. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I try to tell him, you still gotta have love for that child. The child has nothing to do with it. You just have you have to point your animosity towards the mother, and the mother was completely wrong. Completely wrong. She was filed, everything, and it happens all the time. It's not nothing. It happens all the time. This is like the first time you've heard of this.
Right.
But it's wrong, but he still got to have love for the child. And right now he's angry. So he's like, I'm putting you and the kid got to get out. Everybody got to get out the house. Even though he should have said, oh, you got to go, but the child can stay, something like that. Because I wouldn't want to just kick the child out. Because he still got love for the child. Because that's what that video just said. He told her, you and the child got to go.
It's going to be interesting. Go ahead, Lisa. I'm gonna let you give your take.
They both had to go. They both had to go because he was hurt. He did not want to do something that was going to cause permanent damage to the relationship he had with that child. What I saw was a man completely in pain, and he made a decision, whether it was right or wrong, good or bad. In that moment, his pain spoke up and said, and you hear him say it, it's too much right now.
Okay.
I can't deal. I'm hurt. It's too much. Yes, I love him, but right now it's too much. Because if the child had stayed without her, there was now the conversation of, why is my mommy not here? Why did you kick mommy out? Why am I here? Now we have to have that. I'm not your father, biological father. You're my son, but you're not my son. He wasn't prepared for that. You can't ask a person who's been dealt a blow of that magnitude to be rational in that moment. He was allowed, to me, to have that space to get himself together. right? We haven't seen a part two. We haven't seen a follow up. But I'm gonna be 1,000% real with you. I would not expect for a person to be rational in that moment. If I had lied and connived, manipulated, basically used him for 11 years, knowing full well that that child was not his biological child. More to go to the bragging to your friends, because that means you possibly
Yeah.
know who this kid's father is, and you
Yeah.
purposely set this dude up for this to happen.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, he needs. I would ask for space. If I have been duped for 11 years, lied to, cheated on, whatever the case is, you got to go in that moment so that I don't do something that I'm going to regret, like other things that could happen that I can't say on social media. But no, I'm different. I they all needed to take a break. Everybody needed space.
I'm gonna come at this very different, and I might get some pushback, and that's okay.
Of course.
Um, and I understand both of your points. I just feel first thing is this: what I pinpoint a couple of things. It went on social media because he videotaped it, and he needed to do that for whatever clarity he needed.
Mm.
The moment that I needed to take a DNA test for a child that I'm thinking is mine, I have to prepare myself for the answer as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. The fact that I needed to go into my child mother's phone to get this information sends off another signal to me of there's a mistrust going on in the first place.
Yep.
But at the same dynamic, I'm going to take ownership to something as well. I have to own the fact that this woman felt that I was going to be the choice that she was going to choose to be named this child's father. I'm going to remove the biological part and just know that if I've had this child underneath my wing for the past 11 years, that's my son. At the end of the day, I don't care who his daddy is.
Exactly.
That's my son. Now, I can have a problem with you with the method on how this child became my son, but I'm also going to pivot and say in a heartbeat something you said, Lise. Now we have to deal with trying to let him understand what this dynamic we've created. Not even though I had a part in it, but we have to now stand up and deal with this dynamic. Going on social media, making this a viral video is not the way to do it.
No,
because this 11-year-old is going to be 18 at some point, 20 at some point, and this video is going to be out there forever.
Forever.
And now going to say, I'm putting y'all out. What is that doing? Is that giving you clarity? Is that making you feel better? And as far as the dupe part, there's a reason why maybe the dude that is this child's father wasn't worthy of being a father, and she allowed herself to get pregnant by him. But now I'm making a better choice because now you said you moved them in. They lived with you for 11 years. This is your child. That means you have been an upstanding gentleman. Don't change that now. Don't let this moment in time change that. Because what you can do is pivot and be different. And the different part is being a man and saying, you know what? Let you and I try to reconcile and understand what we got to do going forward. Putting you out is my anger and my ego, but that's not the answer. This young man now needs more of a father than he ever have, because the fact of this new dynamic he's going to have to grow up with, because the questions he's going to have going forward is, who is my father? And she hasn't revealed who that person is. So now
she knows.
Again, but at the end of the day, and yes, she might have some childish ways about her being on there, making fun about it and things like that. I got it. But now, as a man, I'm going to have to stand up and take the lead role in this young man's life about raising him so we can break this chain. So now, later on, this ain't going to happen again. We're going to make sure, son, that now we're going to make sure that we use condoms. We're going to make sure that we don't perpetrate this same act again. And you're going to be smart enough to know that going forward, it's a different ball game going forward. But see, that's what I'm talking about, doing it different. We are so quick to use this tool called social media and put shit out there that is only going to hurt those later on, hurt the family dynamic. Because now you got friends and fellow family members looking at this child. He ain't yours. Yes, he is. He is yours. He's tied to you for the past decade. Go ahead.
That's not what he said. What he said was, I love him. Of course I love him. Of course he's my son. Had she humbled herself, and this is just a woman's take, and Lisa, you can stop me when I'm wrong. When he confronted her Had she owned up to her shit, had she apologized, had she asked him for forgiveness, I do believe that would have gone differently.
But
I
she
do
was
believe
strong and wrong.
she was strong and wrong. And I do
Strong and
believe,
wrong.
John, that had she said, I fucked up, I made a
didn't
mistake,
know.
I lied, or even if she knew, I
Yeah.
didn't know how to tell you. If she had been
Mhm.
vulnerable with him and allowed him to have his feelings and not try to continue to play him, I don't think he would have put her out. I really don't. What I took from what I saw was a hurt man responding to her continued, because she continued in the lie. What you
Disrespect.
mean? How?
Disrespect.
What you mean a DNA test? She stood right in his face and then she said, "Well, it don't matter.
And at
It
the
I'ma
don't
same,
take care of
matter."
him. You
and-
still his father.
and at the same time, he's recording all of this. She
And this
does
is
not
true. He
know she's being recorded. She does not know that. So again, you're not having a real upfront. See, as much as she doing her thing, he doing his
He's
as
doing
well.
his. Agreed.
Because he knows this is being recorded and
Uh-huh.
he's not putting himself in a bad light. Follow me? He's
Mhm.
now.
I thought I heard her say, "Why are you on live?" She didn't say
No,
something
Yeah,
about
she
live.
did say.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
she
didn't
did.
hear that part.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
And,
thought she said, "Why are you on
and-
live?"
well,
Yeah.
then she realized after the fact that
After
he's
the
on
fact,
live.
yeah.
Right. Right. He's on. But once again, he's making sure that he looks good in this because of, but let me say it again. Having to leave, you got to go. See, again, you only now creating this whole muck of a mess and making it worse. You didn't have to do that. Now, whatever reason he
No.
chose to, and yes, and I understand the anger, I understand the ego,
And the
I
hurt.
get all of that, and the
No,
hurt,
and the
oh,
hurt.
and the pain, I get it. But again, like you both said, there's an innocent child in the middle
Child
of
don't
this
need that.
storm.
And
You
hurt
were
people hurt
supposed
people.
to get an umbrella and protect the child who is innocent in all of this. And I got the visceral reaction in the moment, but that's where you got to pivot. And I used the word pivot. You got to pivot and think about the child.
But
Because
how do you pivot emotionally? How in that moment?
Here's how.
It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be overnight.
And here's the thing, because you used the word, I love him.
Mhm.
He did. He
If
said
you're
that.
going to use your love, that's where the pivot comes from.
Yeah.
Is within the love. I got to pivot this because I love this kid. I love my son. And we've had moments that we've wanted to break our child's ass, break the frame, but we pivot because we know we can't do that.
So we're back into it. So we're in a peak in a valley, right? We talked about that in another conversation.
Mhm.
But now they're in a valley, and he wasn't given the opportunity to know that he was really in this valley until he had to snoop, basically, as you said, trust issues. So he didn't know he was in a valley, John.
No, let me say
Well,
it.
let me hold on. Let me get my thought out.
Go ahead.
He's in a valley that he didn't know he was in, and he may not have the skills to be in the valley and think rationally in the valley. Because what the part that I think that stood out the most with me with him is I did not see him going to him putting her out until she started trying to minimize how he felt. And if you put me, and I'm speaking now I'm gonna turn this on Lisa. If you put me in a space where you're minimizing how I feel and you telling me that my feelings don't matter, I'm not going to handle it the same way I would have had you acknowledged that what you did was fucked up.
What DNA test comes back immediately?
None.
Well, that's not true. That's not true.
What DNA test comes back?
You can go to the pharmacy. You can go to the pharmacy and you can get a rapid test, just like you get a rapid COVID test and a rapid flu test.
Really?
There are rapid DNA tests. They're expensive as hell.
Listen.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
I'm going to say it again. He had time to reconcile the answer to that DNA test.
This is true. I'm not disagreeing that.
No.
It didn't come back yesterday, right? What you're saying is it wasn't immediate.
My only point is this: is he knew the answer was going to be either or. Either way, you set your mind up to how I'm going to deal with either or answer. And if that is the case, when you got your answer, then you have to reconcile the answer once you receive it. Now, yes, you go on live and you do all of this, but at the end of the day, you know the person. You had to snoop to get this information from her. So
There is
again, you
that
know
point.
the person.
There is
Yeah.
that
I
point.
have to
You already knew
reconcile
there
that
was a potential, right?
there's a child involved in this. However, the answer
Mm-hmm.
comes back, I have to reconcile what that is before I even get the answer. Now I got the answer. Now what I'm going to do with it. And yes, in the moment, you got the ego, you got the emotions, you got the pain, you got the hurt. The child doesn't have that.
But you keep saying ego.
Well,
Where
the ego is
I'm just
this.
trying
It's
to
the
understand.
man.
Other than going on live,
No, here's the
where
ego.
was the ego?
Here's the ego. Because he knows the child is not his. That's not my child. Okay. Like you used the word duped. He was duped. He'd been told a lie for the past 11 years. All of that. That comes back to once you say, I'm going to put y'all out. He didn't say, I'm putting you out. I'm putting y'all out. Y'all got to go. As if now you're going to say, I love this child, but y'all got to go.
Okay, and again,
Well,
we didn't see anything past that part,
Of course.
but
That's all I
can
can
it
go
not
by.
be that he put them out for that
well,
moment that he needed some time?
well, like my friend situation. I was calming him down. Like, okay, you got to be more rational. I said, because you've been in this child's life for X minus for all this time, and I understand you hurt, you mad, you angry, but you cannot disown this person as your child. You still have love for the child, and it takes. Oh, he was so hurt and so mad that it took him time just to
How,
just
how old was the child, Alicia?
a grown man. He's a grandfather because he found out his son is 27 maybe.
And he's talking about disowning him.
And I'm like, you got a grandchild.
And
I don't got a grandchild.
see, now I go back to what I said earlier about the ego part of it. I
You
don't
know,
right away you want to disown because the fact is now again, you're talking about an adult, but now this 27-year-old still got to reconcile the fact.
somebody in their 20s, 25,
Okay,
26,
25, 27, 21.
whatever.
He
Yeah.
still had 20 years of knowing this one person as his father that now
Yes.
has to reconcile. That's not my father. And now have to get to the bottom of who is my father. There is some trauma behind this,
Yes.
Damn, Skippy.
Yes.
without a
Yes.
doubt. So now think about 11-year-old.
Mm.
Think about 11-year-old. That's why I said the pivot
You know
has to
what?
happen.
And what you also got to think about the child.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the child themselves. People don't even think about that. That happened to one of my family members. Her mother got mad at her and said, so what? You want to go run to your father? That ain't your father anyway. Hold up, wait a minute. What you mean? So how you just gonna you trying to weaponize the fact, weaponize that that's not your father. That all that right there,
And you got to unpack all of that.
you gotta
You have
unpack
to
all of
unpack
that.
all of that.
All of that is a
And
lot to unpack.
that's why I said to y'all when I seen the video, it was bothersome because the way he went about it, I'm like,
Very
no,
bad.
that's
Very
not the way to
bad.
do it, man. And I understand, but you got to understand something going forward. And I'm looking forward. That's the moment of the video. It's a 1 minute, 2 minute video, whatever it is. It's a snapshot. But what I'm going to say to everyone listening and watching this right now, at the end of the day, he's going to have to create some kind of village between him and that baby's mother to create a stability in this 11-year-old's life going forward. You can't do that in this manner
Yeah.
of how you've already set it up. She set it up totally wrong.
Mm.
Okay. She set it up totally wrong. But now you're adding to more on top of it on how difficult this will be to try and now do it this way. Because now forever he has that video to always look back at, as you said, y'all got to go.
Y'all
That's
gotta
tough.
go.
Y'all got to go. That's a tough one, man.
I give him grace.
I
give him
pray
grace.
for them.
I'm going to pray for them and I'm going to give him grace because I want to believe that the hurt that he felt was because of love and that he will find his way back to making amends and bringing that young man back home
Back.
to him. I have to believe that because I grew up with lies in my childhood. I come from people making decisions for me without considering me in the end.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a stronger person because of those things, But to get past those hurdles, to be in those, that's why valleys, to me, valleys are lessons. I don't see valleys in relationships as being insurmountable. I'm gonna climb back up to the peak because I don't know anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm hoping, right? I'm gonna put this in the universe because I want it to land in a positive space. I hope that he finds peace in this situation for him and the young man. I don't give a shit what happens to her lying ass, but I hope that he and that young man can
For
build
real.
something from the ashes of this.
I just want to throw something out there. And we used the term earlier, the word evolution.
Mm-hmm.
If the child's 11 years old, I don't know the ages of these
people.
Of these parents. I don't know the age, but I'm just going to take 10 years off of what I think. So let's say she was 18. Let's just say she was 18. She's 28 now. She might still have the mentality of a 18-year-old.
Right.
And maybe the situation will now age her a little bit, that she realized she needs to grow up because the maturity level you see is not there. Because like you said, her response to all of this was wrong.
Very
immature. Wrong.
Very wrong.
Very
but I do understand that maybe she made a decision that she never wanted to get out. And now that it's out, she don't know how to handle it also. Because the secret that she was keeping was her secret. And she was only sharing it with her circle of girlfriends and not the guy that she put this into this madness. So I say that because at the same time, when you're talking about reconciling really evolution, is she can evolve into a better mother now, maybe behind this, and she don't repeat this either going forward. Because you want to break the chain in this situation as well. And as I always say, water is sometimes thicker than blood.
Blood, yes, God.
Okay.
Because water raised us.
Water raised us. And I say this because so many times we use and attach this thing called biological.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. Is not always logical to be the person that you want to be raised by. So I throw that out there. So for those that see this video, we're going to post it in this. We're going to have the video so you can watch it, and everybody's going to have their own take on it. But at the end of the day, stop for a moment and think about the 11-year-old innocent child in all of this.
Yeah.
Before you want to comment and put things out there. And I'm going to put something that I think this country needs to do better. When a child is born, if you're right, Lisa, and again, I never heard of it. I didn't know, but if it is right, if they have instant DNA tests.
It's rapid. It's not instant, but it's rapid.
Okay, rapid DNA
a few days
tests.
Versus weeks.
Right. If they have that, I don't understand why there's not laws or hospitals do not require DNA tests to be performed when a child is born, so we can make sure of not only of who the father is, but making sure the baby that you're taking home
is the right one.
It's the right child at the same time.
So it's funny you say that, because some states, when a woman goes to get on public assistance, they require her to do a paternity test to prove that the father she wants to put on child support, as well as to receive state support, is the right one. So that is, not every state does it, and I 1000% agree with you. If you are not married, and hell, sometimes even when you married, because I've seen cases, real talk. I don't know if y'all watch Paternity Court with Judge Lauren Lake, but Lauren is my benchmark for. Listen.
You watch too much TV.
She's an advocate for these babies. No, I love the fact that she's an advocate, and she'll tell these men, this child might not be yours, right? If the DNA says no, but you've been in this little boy's life for 5 years, 7 years, what you gonna do? Because you love this kid, not knowing, and you should continue to love him. I am a big advocate of loving anybody. Love who the hell you love.
Yes.
But I am not an advocate of you lying, deliberately deceiving people for your own good. I can't do it.
Because some of these women, they go, well, he's a good provider. He can take care of me and my babies. You're like, what? But he is not the daddy.
10 to get you 20 that she chose him, like John said. What did you say earlier, John? The other person might not have been a good
candidate,
but there was something else you said. There was something else you said about being a provider.
A role model.
uh, maybe not the right person to raise a son,
Right,
and
right.
she
Yeah.
felt like this guy,
This
A,
guy's
she
a
won't
better
have
a
to get
better
on public
choice,
assistance,
a better
right?
choice to raise my son.
Better
Yes.
choice to raise my son. I won't have to get on public assistance. I'll have somebody in the home with me
Stable.
and my state. That's it, Leisha. That's
Stable.
the word I wanted to use.
Oh,
Stable.
stable.
She
Right.
wanted somebody stable for her
Stability.
son.
She wanted stability.
But
Stability.
she went about that
But-
shit all the wrong way.
But I have to having a real transparent, honest moment with this topic, because years ago, I remember hearing about these situations and these kind of cases, and I used to get upset, and that the father shouldn't, the person that was told, they're learning that they're not the father, the state will still make them pay child support and do
Mhm.
certain things, and they are still required. And I used to be upset like that shouldn't be the case. But over my time of evolving and working with young men, of understanding that I didn't realize the importance of having stability in a young man's life in an early age. And yes, providing for him financially, emotionally, physically, is being able to be there for them, is how important that is. And I understand why they now do it. Even though a paternity test shows you're not the father, but you have been the dad. You have been the stability person in this child's life, and that you should continue that road. It shouldn't be about biological. It shouldn't be about DNA. It shouldn't be about blood. It should be about purpose. If your purpose is to be a dad in this child's life, then continue to be his dad. Could pay the child support, put the money out there for him, raise him. But just know that you're doing it with a clear heart, a clear mind, and clear eyes. You're not doing it because you're being forced to, but it's because you have had an impact, and that child will grow up, and you can change that young man's life or young girl's life going forward. So I put that out there because I know how I used to feel about it, and I've learned better to now see it in a different light. So I wanted to put that out there.
I think if women were more honest with these men up front, being vulnerable. That's a word that we don't like
word.
to use.
Good word.
Right?
Very much.
We don't want to be vulnerable because we feel like we're going to be played, or we're going to look like, we talked about this in one of our previous episodes. You don't want to look soft, right? I'd much rather you be soft and accepting and allow me to be human and make my mistakes and let me own it. If I own it, can we talk about it? Can we have a conversation? Because I feel that maybe 6 out of 10 men would do exactly what you said, John. If I'm given the straight truth versus you lying to me, let me decide. This is go back to my choice. Remember, I talked about choices earlier. Let me make the choice. I want to raise this child? If the answer is yes, then I'm all in. Let me be all in.
Is the woman worrying about being judged?
Yes.
Yes.
See?
Our society is going to judge her way more than they're going to judge him.
See, and that I think plays a very important part on why women do not come forth, because they're worrying about being judged. And the fact that I did have you thinking that this child was yours,
maybe
and it's not. Maybe yours. Maybe baby. And now you have to turn around and now own up to that and have to face that scrutiny, because especially now in this day and age, it's a click comment, it's a thumb comment to call you all kind of names, call you out your name, and make you feel like lower than low, when truly, like I said, nobody's perfect. It shouldn't be about that. But I think that plays a part in it as well. So I kind of understand it. That's why I said I kind of understand how and why these things happen. I mean, I had it happen to me years ago when I was younger, and someone tried to tell me that, but hey, I wasn't. So
Okie dokie.
But I say this because I think that we lose sight of the bigger picture. And I think the bigger picture is the child. It's not about, and I don't understand why this went to social media. That's the only way we've seen it, because it was on social media and it went viral and it got a lot of views and a lot of likes and comments and everything. And it's sad because that 11-year-old child has got to deal with this for the rest of his life.
Yes.
That's the toughest part about this, y'all. So listen, we going to wrap this up. This has been some great episodes, some great conversation. I appreciate it. Continue to follow us, y'all. Watch the show. Subscribe. And from us to anyone out there in this situation, if you can, be transparent, bring it out. And the two of y'all, think about the child. Put the child health, mental well-being
Absolutely.
first. This is Mr. J.
I'm Leisha.
And I'm Lisa, and I said what I said.
She sure did. Peace out, y'all.